All right, check it out. So today's January 27th. It is Thursday, and I was just checking out the charts. Figured I'd put this one up. We talked about the gold chart. I drew this triangle back a few days ago. I think it was two videos ago, and we drew that little triangle. And so if we hop in the daily, we in fact did bounce off this line. So we have one, two, three, four touches on this line. Several touches down here, which coincides with the MACD. The MACD is looking, right? We've got a crossover there on the MACD, which coincides, and get back to what I was going for here, is on the DXY on the Dixie. We had a monster day on the Dixie. So on the Dixie, we went from 95.922 all the way up to 96.5. All right, we're back. Um, Son was in here. We got him out. He's all right. He's excited. So we talked about the DXY. Yeah, we talked about this candle right here before we saw what this was, right? So we're looking at Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Thursday's going to be our next candle. So Thursday and Friday. Thursday, Friday. So we got two more candles here to finish out this weekly candle. Let's hop over to the weekly, right? We got the weekly. We got two nice candles. Big ones. So we would assume that we would maybe test this another half a point on Thursday and Friday combined to retest that. And on the weekly, we got a really profound rounded bottom, which could lead to a breakout. And remember, what the DXY is a basket of currencies. I think it's like the top six. I think it's the Japanese, the pound, um, the euro. Let's look it up. Why don't we know the answer instead of guessing? What is the DXY? What is the DXY? It is a basket of currencies against, yeah, so here we go. Euro, yen, pound, the Canadian dollar, the Swedish krona, and the Swiss franc. All the best capitalists right there. Um, and no jokesters. We don't have any Russians in there. We don't have any Chinese in there. Right. So it's the dollar against those. So that would signal to us that these economies are saying that they need to get more dollars. So, that there's a lot of effects that this has on the market, and we talked about this before. I think one of those is that it drags everything down because people are selling too, right? People are selling into dollars, so people are buying dollars, right? When somebody sells their stock, what are they getting for it? Dollars. So they're buying dollars because they're not buying it with a different currency. That currency happens to be a stock, or that currency happens to be a cryptocurrency, right? So Yeah, let's zoom back in on the daily on the DXY. I'd love to know why it loses my focus when we go out to the weekly and then back. I don't get that. All right, so yeah, we talked about this candle here the other day, and this candle was engulfing, bullish engulfing candle on this one, and it ended up going up, right? So it played out, and we talked about that DXY. We said we had a D, or not, excuse me, we talked about the MACD on the DXY on that same candle. We said it was turning up, and we hadn't any green at that time, and now we have our first green bloom. So what's next, right? If this is short-lived, won't get much. Um, Definitely could see it touching down into. Wow, I mean, even the bottom of it looks strong. If you look at this channel here, this is where it went up big. Anyway, so there's the DXY. And another thing I noticed today, just when I was fooling around earlier, was when we talked about that S5TH, and I was just fooling with what I follow, and I saw that the S5TH, which is the S&P 500 stocks above the 200-day moving average, was down 9%. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a lot, right? Um, so I don't know what sold off because I don't follow stocks I don't follow individual stocks. I use the indicators, right? I use this indicator. I follow the SPX. But I'm sure if you go to the front page of what the market did, you'll see there must have been some massive sell-offs in certain stocks, right? Because the S&P itself didn't have a horrible day. Actually, I don't even think it moved much, did it? Yeah, we had a bit of a fake out. Tried to get above that 4,400. Remember that 4,400 zone is big. We're going to play with this for a while, I think. But nonetheless, the last hour of trading, we had the second to last hour of trading, we had a nice little sell off. So maybe that's where we see that we had 9% drop on the S5TH. And let's go back on the day. Remember I said 4,400. Okay, so 4,400 for the S&P, SPX. Let's pop in our moving averages real quick. We don't need the 21. Let's pop back into the weekly. Why is 4,400 important? Yeah, there it is, right? We get the 50-day moving average. Where's our 200-day? I must have need to throw it back in there. Moving average. Just put MA. Moving average. No, I gotta delete something. I could just change that. Anyways, MA. Let's pop one more in there. Here she is. Let's get her in. Let's get her in some fine pink. No, we'll do some green. Do some light green. Let's put that length as a 200-day. Let's make it a little thicker. All right, where's our 200? 200's way down there. But 4,400, I know it's on the daily. There it is. So there's our 200 daily moving average. So yesterday we touched it and bounced off. That's not the best situation. And we turned pink, right? But that was the late selling. But this is buying, right? We said pink is buying, but we had some late selling, right? I mean, I jump back in the hourly. We had that next to last hour sell off down below. So the market's possibly respected that 200-day moving average. And the 50-week moving average is literally sitting on the bulk of the candle. Wow. So, anyways, the DXY, you can't look into the hourly chart of the DXY. So, I don't know when that happened. It doesn't let you. There's no way to know. But we can assume that big sell-off led to a lot of what we see with this dollar doing well. And across markets, right? It's not just the stock market, right? Just remember, I'm using these indicators, the SPX, the DXY, the S5TH, and I'm attempting to make a case that they're related. But we shall see. And look at the DXY, right, on the weekly. 200-day moving average. Scooping up, turning up. We got the 20, which is the bullish average to respect. It bounced off the 20 on the weekly. Coincided moving averages tilting up is a good sign. Let's throw another indicator on here for a second. Let's do some Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands. So Bollinger Bands basically tell us where it could go. And it tends to stay inside those bands, right? So when it hits the bottom of the band, it wants to go back up. And very bullish, it'll ride the top, or on the contrary, when it's very bearish, it rides the bottom. Bottom Bollinger Band is pointing up. It's not pointing down. And the top of the Bollinger Band, right? The top one is pointing up a tad bit. So we'll see. If we get another half point, that's more than a half point to get to the top there. And remember, we're at the top of our local highs, which was 2-3 months ago. All right, so there we go. Bitcoin, we'll always got to follow it up with some Bitcoin at least. We got a lot going on in here. Let's turn this off. Wow, so look at that. We left the Bollinger Bands on. Let's relax our MACD here a little bit. We're getting a little too MACD on that MACD. So, wow, we threw those Bollinger Bands on there. Oh, look at that. Yeesh. Anyways, so I drew a channel here, right? This is on the weekly, right? So that's that previous all-time high, latest all-time high, right? We had our channel that we drew here with our trend lines. So look at the Bollinger Bands. Wow, they're literally at the top and the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. And they're both pointing, one's pointing up, one's pointing down. Wow, here comes our 99-day moving average. This is on the weekly. It's just what the weekly is fitting. I mean, I would say, in my most honest and humble opinion, it's not the worst time to buy. Bottom of the Bollinger Bands, 99-day moving average. We got our trend line, which only has one touch. I mean, you could bring it back here, I suppose. There's nothing wrong with that, right? We get 3 touches. Well, we have 2.5. So, well, not necessarily. 1, 2, 3. Respect. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's hop into the daily. See what the daily tells us. I was just playing with some trades last night, so I still got some stuff in here. Let's get these Bollinger Bands out of here. We just clouding our thought. I had this trend line in here. I just think we do have a nice trend going. So we had the trend line. It took a break. Sorry. We had a trend line here, and you know what? Let's just connect it down to here. I mean, until we see price kind of slide this way. I mean, do we have V reversals? Sure, we had one last time. I mean, I don't know. You're cutting it seriously. I don't know if you can respect that line as much, right? But maybe you can. I mean, you got decent enough touches on it. We did blast right through it, right? With this one, if you just drop your line here. So, but let's not confuse things. I like this line, and this line also, right? That is about as straight down as you get for, the 20-day moving average. Just do some more comparisons with the moving averages. We had the 20 and then the 50 cross over the 99 right here last time. So 20 went first, then the 50, and the 20 and the 50 also then went over the 200, and then the 100 over the 200. So does it repeat that? We got our 20, 20, 50 over the 99, 20, 50. Are we going to get the 99 over the 200 like we did last time? I mean, is this just if we're respecting this channel? I imagine that that's possible. And then we go back to where we were before, where we pointed out right here. Now, I know my trend lines moved a little bit. I tightened it up. This is actually a little bit different. But we were in this area, right? And that area is somewhere between, you know, let's be skeptical, and let's take it down to 28. I mean, the trend line itself is going to be at 3100, right? We're looking at this here on the right. You can see. Let's go like that so we can see it. So yeah, I mean, 34 to 31. I'm not. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, things are lining up, but if we compare what this channel did here to what this channel could do, I mean, certainly, certainly, certainly. I'm never gonna be able to get a hold of this thing. There we go. I guess let's go down to our lowest wick, right? Where was our lowest wick? Right there. And you know how crypto works. It doesn't have to be as, TA does not have to be perfect. Oh, it went below that line. We're going down. Not necessarily, right? We have some room to, but let's just put it 2,800. And we talk about where price is right now. That's still another 2,300. Excuse me, 23%. So at the end of the day, is it a bad idea to buy there? I don't know. I wish I knew. All right, last thing. Let's not get too long here. Let's throw a little Gaussian channel in there and see. Let's see. Let's see where that puts us in the Gaussian channel. Gaussian. Just spell Gaussian wrong? No, I didn't. Gaussian channel. Um, technicals. Why am I not getting anything? What's up with that? All right, we're back. Need it on the weekly. Need it on the weekly. And right, our box, if we assume, we can bend down a little bit here, but we can assume in this box is in the Gaussian channel. We talked about last video. Take away the Gaussian channel. We're in the logarithmic growth curve is in the buy zone. God, I hate to be wrong. Anyways, there it is. There it is. There it is. Look at the 200-week moving average isn't even in the channel. The 200-week moving average is never in the channel, except in the beginning of its. So there's not enough time to be able to have the indicator be there to create the mathematical formula. Right? It's moving average, so it's all the weeks added up. So there at this point there hadn't been 200 weeks. Anyways, not enough information, but 200-day. God, you never really know, do you? Here, all this looks like good spot. All of this. And that's the thing, when we go long term, weekly, daily, it looks a lot easier to figure out where to buy and just don't go to the lower time frame. Right? We get these hourlies and stuff. What are you gonna do with this? I mean, you gotta have a lot of skills to go in here, and I'm not saying that I don't, or I do. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong, right? Looks like it's going down here. You think, oh, it's easy, A, B, C, D, but it's not, right? We get faked out, just like last night. We got faked out here. Everybody's, all right, let's get back in. I mean, right, all this momentum here, right? You're thinking, all right, let's go. And then if you're watching this, you're freaking out. But if you go all the way out, you stop freaking out. Right? So it's one thing I've learned. I just gotta stay out of the low time frames. All right, see ya.